Welcome back to Topic 35 for Algebra 1 Recursive Formulas. In Part 1, we're going to identify and define what is a recursive formula, as well as use recursive formulas in order to find the first few terms of a sequence. First off, what is a recursive formula? In Topics 33 and 34, we used explicit formulas in order to summarize an arithmetic sequence as well as a geometric sequence. Recursive formulas is just another way to write those sequences. However, in a recursive formula, in order to find the nth term of a sequence, you need to know the previous term. For example, say I have a sequence and I want to figure out what would be the 20th term in that sequence. In order to figure out what the 20th term would be, I would need to know the 19th term. So recursive formulas, everything builds off of the previous term. Here we have similar variables to what we were introduced to in topics 33 and 34. A sub 1 is still the first term of the sequence. A sub n is still the term you want. A sub n minus 1 stands for the previous term. And because it's n minus 1, think of that as if you start at n and take a step back 1, it's like you're standing at where you previously were. The last part is where n is greater than or equal to 2. Now remember, n is the term number. So when n is greater than or equal to 2, this means that we can use recursive formulas in order to find the second term of our sequence and up. So if we want to find the second term, third term, fourth term, etc., etc. Now notice with recursive formulas, there are 3 different parts. We have to identify what the first term is. We have this pattern of a sub n equals something having to do with our previous term and building off of it, as well as acknowledging at the end that this rule applies for finding the second term and up. So this n is greater than or equal to 2. This will always be included on every single problem, and this value of 2 will not change. Let's say, for the first example, we want to find the first 5 terms of a sequence. In our example, we know that a sub 1 is 6. So the first term that we start off with is 6. Our rule that we have here is in order to find the term that we want, we have to take the previous term, a sub n minus 1, and multiply it by 2. So there's multiplication in between this 2 and this a sub n minus 1. And this will work in order to find the second term, third term, fourth term, fifth term, etc., etc. So now that we know that the first term is 6, we're going to take our rule of multiplying the previous term by 2. So all I'm doing is just plugging in the previous term into the pattern that was given. 2 times 6 gives us 12. So the second term of the sequence will be 12. Now in order to find the third term, I'm going to plug in 12 for my previous term. 2 times 12 gives us 24. In order to find the fourth term, I'm going to plug in 24. 2 times 24 gives us 48. And in order to find the fifth term, 2 times 48 gives us 96. For the next example, we're also asked to find the first 5 terms of the sequence. But here, the first term starts off with 7. Now our rule is a 2-parter. We have to first multiply our previous term by 3, then subtract 5. So I'm going to take this 7, multiply it by 3, then minus 5. And as a result, my answer, I will get 16. Now I'm going to plug the 16 in. 3 times 16, also known as my previous term, gives you 48, minus 5 gives me 43. Plug in 43. 3 times 43 gives me 129, minus 5 gives me 124. And lastly, 3 times 124 gives me 372, minus 5 gives me 367. And that is part 1 for topic 35 for Algebra 1, Recursive Formulas. Thank you for watching.